the only thing I'm trying to do is to put this team in a position to make to the playoffs. I know that if we get there, it's going to be fun. But first things first, we got to get there. The other part of it, like I said, it doesn't matter what I think or what people think, or it's gonna take care of itself when the season is over.
Right. I think the perception from everyone is that this is your last ride here. Like, you're definitely very open to coming back, right?
I'm definitely open to show up every day and keep working. That's my goal. I said I don't want to talk about the future. I want to talk about the future. Whenever we get there, we get there.
That was about 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, Jimmy, July 8th, you said, is that correct?
That is correct, yes, Mazz.
Alex Cora's comments on July 8th in that exchange with Chris Cotillo of Mass Live. Everyone assumes that this is your last roundup here, or last whatever it was that he said exactly in the comment. And, do you want to elaborate on that? And it said, Cora refused to answer the question, wouldn't get into his future. Everybody just assumed he was gone. Gone. End of Alex Cora, lame duck manager, didn't want to be here. Today, in a series of reports, basically that ultimately have now all been confirmed, the Red Sox and Alex Cora have agreed to a 3-year, $21.75 million contract extension that will keep him as the manager of the Red Sox, or at least pay him as manager of the Red Sox through the 2027 season. So, boy, do we have a lot to get to today. A lot has happened in the last few hours, beginning with Cora, the finale in Colorado against the Rockies. The Red Sox got their faces kicked in 20-7 on the final. There was an on-the-field confrontation between Cal Quantrill and Maguire that we have to tell you about, and I would love to actually play for you with unfiltered audio, but we can't because it was so filthy. We'll get Maguire. Presumably there is going to be sound of Maguire after the game, Quantrill after the game, all that stuff, which we're probably going to have to wait for until tonight or tomorrow. But tonight, who's in tonight, Jimmy?
Joe Murray, 7 to midnight.
Okay, so Joe Murray may have some of it on the night show. I don't think we're going to get it in time here by the time we get around to it or get to the top of the hour. There's a chance, I suppose. But in any case, Jared Carrabis of Underdog Fantasy.
That's right.
In studio as well.
Right.
Jared is presented by Blue Moon Belgian White. Be sure to relax and enjoy the ball game with Blue Moon Belgian White. Blue Moon, born in a ballpark, brewed for baseball. And if I had to pick a singular day over the last couple of years to have Jared Carrabis in studio, and I only could get one day, this would be it. So let's start with the most shocking news of the day, at least in my estimation. Alex Cora and the Red Sox have agreed on a 3-year contract extension that will keep him in Boston or pay him to be the Red Sox manager through 2027. Your reaction?
I mean, you took the word from me, Tony. It was shocking. Back in April, I mean, there were some conversations that I was privy to where I walked away from said conversations saying 0% chance he's here next year. 0. It wasn't even like I wasn't even a 0.001% like leaving the door open. I was just like, it is 0% that he is staying in Boston. The question now becomes, what changed? Something changed. Was it posturing from Cora in the beginning, putting up this front of I'm happy to go somewhere else, or I want to go to somewhere else, or I'm at least interested in seeing what other teams' pitches are to get me to go to their organization? Because it is interesting that he signed the extension versus the season expired. He went out there and he shopped himself around and then came back. It's more interesting to me that he foregoed the opportunity to speak to other teams and just said, all right, I'm going to stay here. That part to me was genuinely shocking based on where we were at with this in April.
So, and Jared, the part that can't be overlooked either, I mean, and I'm asking you questions more for, rhetorical discussion than anything else. Since the start of the season, has his stock gone up or down?
Oh, way up.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah, based on what he's done with this roster, I don't know how anyone could say that it hasn't gone up.
Okay, so his bargaining position is better than it was before the season started.
Yeah.
Okay, he has done a good deal with this team.
Yep.
Despite the injuries and all the events that have taken place.
I have a theory as to what I already know what you're going to ask me, and I think I've developed a theory. But go ahead.
Okay, so the question I have is not necessarily a theory question, not yet. Although I have one of those too, which you can surmise. My question to you is he making a mistake?
No.
Why not?
I think he genuinely cares about this group. B, I would have to believe that beyond the money, that they said something to him to give him hope that things aren't going to go in the future the way that they've gone the last few years. Because, it's stating the obvious. This guy could have hit the open market and signed for as much or more than elsewhere.
Correct.
And not just, the last go around when AJ Hinch was looking for a job and he ended up in barren wasteland of Detroit, there's going to be enticing options. We don't know for sure if Dave Roberts is going to get fired or Aaron Boone is going to get fired. We don't know that. There's going to be job openings that are a better landing spot than the last go around when he came back to Boston. But I think that he made the right decision because we're at the point now where we're on the precipice of the Teals, the Myers, the Anthonys. Like, these guys are coming, the Christian Campbells of the world. And I think he believes that John Henry, his stance is, I'll spend when the time is right. I'm not going to spend just to spend. I'm going to spend when the time is right. If he has that type of reassurance, why wouldn't you want to be here? You're beloved here. You've won here. You can handle the market here. You've learned everything in terms of being a manager here. And I think that he wants to be, because it would be disingenuous to say that he was handed a World Series team in 2018. That's not the case. I think Alex Cora was super instrumental in that 2018 team becoming the team, their identity that they became this championship team in 2018. But I think he wants to prove I can win here again, and I can do it with a completely different group. I think that has more value to him than going to the Dodgers next year and winning with another plug-and-play team.
Okay, and let me just say quickly, too, by the way, if you want to call in, 617-779-0985. We'll open up the phone lines right away because it's that kind of night. Really, I'm not joking. This is an unbelievably newsworthy day with the Red Sox. Alex Cora has agreed to a new contract, again, if you have not heard or if you're just joining. 3 years, $21.75 million, $7.25 per year. Against all odds, there wasn't anybody, at least within the sphere of Fenway Park or the Red Sox operation, that was predicting that Alex Cora would re-sign. There was nobody saying this. Nobody. In fact, everyone was saying the opposite. He's gone. He's out. He's done with it. This is it. He's taken off at the end of the year. He doesn't believe in them anymore, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And all of a sudden, he re-signs. Now, I personally, Jared, think he's making a mistake. I wouldn't trust them. Now, what I would love to know, and I say I wouldn't trust them because I think that the Red Sox have turned the page and philosophically are operating in a different manner. If they go back to spending, I'll admit I was wrong. I wonder if Cora was wise enough or his agent was shrewd enough to include in his contract some sort of mechanism that allows him to get out if their payroll figure drops below a certain number. And when I say that, I mean ranking, okay? You can't, the luxury tax goes up, revenues go up, all that stuff. But you can include something in your contract to the effect of, at least I think you can, if the team's payroll drops out of the top 25% in baseball, I am allowed to get out of the contract. Okay, I think you could do something like that. I wonder if he did. I wonder if they were willing to do it, in which case I would say, oh, well, that is a deal changer. To me, that is a critical element of this story. What changed? What changed? To your point, you asked it at the very beginning. What changed? And as much as it would be, I would want to know what changed in the relationship between Cora and the team. What is it that now makes Cora say, okay, I believe you. I believe you that when we have a team that is worthy of an investment and capable of winning a championship, that you are willing to do that and that you are willing to operate with the urgency that I want you to operate with. Because that's the word Cora used a couple of years ago, right?
Urgency.
I want more urgency. Mm-hmm. He didn't get it. Now, maybe he feels better about Breslow than he did about Bloom. Who the hell knows? Maybe this was all about money.
I don't think so either, because it's not like he got more than counsel. Like, he didn't set the market for the next guy.
Which is why I think the deal is low.
Yes and no. So this is what I was talking about with my working theory here. Jason Varitek's in his last year guaranteed. And he's getting managerial money to stay here. Like, he's on the coaching staff, but he's getting paid like a manager. Maybe the team said, hey, we've allocated, this is our budget for the coaching staff. If you guys want to stay together, we've got to divvy it up in a way where, you know, he's happy, you're happy, it's everyone. Like, you can't just be like making $10 million as a manager. This is the budget for the coaching staff. This is just my theory.
We're going to take it away from your staff.
Yeah, this is just my theory.
Okay.
Because he gets paid like a manager so that they don't have him leave to go manage somewhere else.
I still think there's got to be something else in the deal. There's got to be something else there. There's got to be some assurance he has in writing that they are going to treat this the way he wants them to treat it, or at least that he has a say in it. In any case, if you're on the line, please sit tight for one moment. We have a ton to get to tonight, not the least of which is Craig Breslow's comments before the game that shed light on the Red Sox approach as we near the July 30th trading deadline. That is now less than a week away. Craig Breslow today had clarification in what I would call no uncertain terms about what the Red Sox intend to do. And I think you're actually, well, I'm not going to tell you whether you'll like it or dislike it. Okay, but we'll get to that when we come back on the Baseball Hour.
Stay tuned for more of the Baseball Hour coming up on the Sports Hub.
Hey, it's Mazz for Bigelow Tea, and you know what I like more than anything? What everybody likes.
This will bring up Stallings, who reached officially on an error. He's going to drive this one deep to left. Durant is racing back, turning, and she is gone. It's a 3-run homer. Jacob Stallings with number 5 to make it 8-1. And their second home run today against Pivetta.
Yeah, sweeper that just didn't sweep. Stayed center cut. Stallings good swing. Middle in. You can see right here that ball just stayed middle in, and that's not where Nick wants that ball.
Yeah. Ooh.
Stallings goes down there, back knees it, almost like the Adrian Bell trade.
Traded out. I mean, that is the pitch you want. It seemed like he was looking for it too, because he was right on it.
Tell you what, every once in a while in a baseball season, you get your brains beat in. What happened to the Red Sox today in Colorado goes well beyond that. They were down 20-3 at one point. They lose 20-7. Nick Pivetta? Wow. How's this for a pitching line? Just quickly. 2 2/3, 10 hits. That means he gave up more hits than he got outs. He got 8 outs. 2 2/3. 10 hits, 8 runs, 7 earned, no walks, 2 strikes. 6 strikeouts, 2 bombs. His ERA went from 3.87 going into the game to 4.50. That is not easy to do at this stage of the year. Boy, did he get freaking crushed. Wow. They end up losing the game 20-7. And yet, that is maybe the least most relevant or the least relevant story. Least most relevant. How's that for a freaking oxymoron? Wow. Least relevant story today involving the Red Sox. This comment by Craig Breslow before the game, Jared Carrabis, you tell me what to make of it. It was in a story written by Alex Spear on the Boston Globe. I'm presuming Breslow spoke with other members of the media.
I didn't see.
I don't know. I didn't check all the other sites. So if I'm giving credit to just Alex, I apologize. But the comment from Breslow, at some point, we need to stop with the stupid analogies and put the turn signal on, said Breslow. And let me stop there. Breslow had said, we got to pick a lane. Okay, we got to pick a lane. So he said, we got to stop with the stupid analogies and we got to put on the directional signal. We've played really good baseball for the last few months. We've put ourselves in this position where we're going to look to improve the team. That's where we would want to be. I think everybody who takes this job does so with an eye on being in a place where not only can you add to the team, but it's the right decision. We obviously have to be mindful of the future. In a perfect world, we can improve our 2024 team and also our 25 and beyond. That's my job. But I think as things stand right now, we're looking for ways to improve the club. End quote. Jared, go.
It's still like not so the quotes in this that I thought stood out to me even more so than that.
Yeah, go ahead.
He got into specifics, which is something that teams usually don't do, and Yale nerds usually don't do, but he did. He went on to like specifically name what it is that they need. He targeted pitching. He's like, listen, we've had Garrett Whitlock go down. He mentioned Slayton and Martin. Like, we've had starters go down. We've had relievers go down. And because those guys have gone down, those have opened up glaring holes on this team, and we need to do something to fix that. And that's kind of what gets me more excited because, if you start to say, like, yeah, like we have to pick a lane here, and I think we're going to try and make this team better. And it's like, well, what does that mean? You go down the list here, and he talks about what that means. We need to add some pitching. It's not just going to be like last year when the Red Sox go out and get Luis Arias. You're like, that'll fix it. Like that, we're in last place. Here's a second baseman that hits 210. Here we go. Like it's like, okay, like give me specifics. What are you going to target? And the fact that it is bullpen and rotation that has been identified, he's stating the obvious, but it's refreshing to hear that that's what they're looking at.
Yeah, and he also did say right-handed hitter, and forgive me if you mentioned
yes.
And just quickly, Jared, because I want to take some calls here, too. We have a bunch of people lined up. And again, it's a very newsworthy day for the Red Sox, and I don't say that lightly because most newsworthy days are not as newsworthy as this one is. This has just been all kinds of stuff going on. Even as he looks to upgrade, writes Spear, Breslow is mindful of trying to build a perennial contender fueled by players who are currently in the big leagues with several years of team control, blah, 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 blah. And let me just add that he expressed optimism that the Red Sox have the prospect depth to make deals while preserving the players who are seen as future long-term regulars. Now, Jimmy Stewart has heard me say this a million times. It's the most important job in the organization to identify who are the real prospects and who are the fake prospects. It's the most important job. You unload the fake ones on someone else who thinks they're real. You keep the real ones for yourself. Breslow says, stating the obvious, this is a direct quote from Craig Breslow, stating the obvious, there are only 8 position players who can take the field at any given time. What that means is we're going to have a lot of really good players who we have to figure out if they're going to be really good players for us or are they going to be good players in the big leagues and give us an opportunity to turn that depth into opportunities in areas where we have a little more scarcity. Okay? Simply put, the same thing I just said. So let's use the easy one, second base. They traded for Vaughn Grissom.
Yep.
Grissom. They traded, or rather they drafted Nick York.
Mm-hmm.
They're both second basemen.
Yep. Christian Campbell can play second base as well.
Okay. Who's the best one? No, and I'm not asking.
The answer, like, for me, it's Christian Campbell.
Okay.
Like, if you're going to play him.
What level is he at, Jared?
Double-A.
Okay.
Yeah, and he is leading all of Double-A in, like, everything.
Okay. He's the guy that just got promoted there recently. He's been ripping it up.
He's played about 35-ish games.
Okay,
for
and
the
he's
Sea
small.
Dogs.
He's slight.
He's skinny, but he's tall. Yeah, I think he's like 6'3".
Okay,
maybe?
I read up on him recently. Yeah, he's like skyrocketing.
So he's played about 35 games for Double-A. He's hitting about 400. OPS is over 1,000. Since getting called up, he's leading the league in batting average on base, and he's third in OPS.
Okay, so again, now the point being of Campbell, Grissom, Nick York. You can trade one or two of those guys.
You can trade two of those guys.
Okay. Now, again, maybe maybe one of them can become like a. In other words, I will allow for the fact that two of them might be good enough to keep.
Yeah,
it's rare.
I think also Matthew Lugo is someone that is crushing it right now.
Stock has gone up this year
tremendously. Like when I was trying to look at what Teal and Meyer and Anthony were doing in Double-A, like Lugo's offensive numbers were above theirs. And you kind of look at that and say, well, he's not one of the big three, and the big three is becoming the big four because of Christian Campbell. So you kind of identify that guy, and it's like, well, this guy's crushing it in Double-A. Someone else like that? Because we've got guys, we've got bodies, and he doesn't really factor in, I guess.
Chaim Bloom was here for 4 years. I never heard him say that.
Yeah.
Never heard him say that. So, look, I hope the light, as the expression goes, light is dawning over Marblehead. I hope that. Because they should be able to do both. And by the way, if they trade for a pitcher who has term on his contract, he can help them now and help them in the future.
Sure.
And you can always re-sign them because you're the Red Sox.
Correct.
Ray and Revere, quickly, Ray. We got a lot of people on the line tonight. Go ahead.
Yeah, guys, I think Breslow might use words because I think what hasn't been stated over the last few years is they've gotten a lot out of these high draft picks. They just took this kid, Braden Montgomery, at 12. He's already a top 100 pick. I think if you're the owner and you see 6 years of control, getting the 12th to 14th pick and narrowly missing the playoffs isn't a bad outcome. I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Okay, I'm not exactly sure what he means. Getting the 12th, 14th pick and missing the playoffs isn't a bad outcome.
Yeah, he's trying.
So what? He doubts that they're going to add?
Well, I think he's saying like it's not the end of the world if you don't make the playoffs because of the draft positioning, I guess.
Okay, but again, in this market, I would say that works in Tampa Bay. It works in a lot of places. In this market,
it's not the NFL. Like a first-round pick, even if it is a really good player, they're not going to help you right now.
Yeah, look, and I understand what Ray means that they have had some high picks of late. True, they have. They've also been able to be competitive over the large majority of the last 50 years, let's call it, even more than that. Okay, 55, 60 years. They've been able to do that without ever picking as high as they picked to get Marcelo Meyer.
Yeah, and some of their best picks in the draft weren't even in the first round.
So look, you can do both. You can do both, Ray. Now, am I convinced? Let's see what they do with the deadline. But I don't think Breslow comes out a week before and repeats this again. On a day they get not that he knew at the time they were going to get their asses kicked. But I don't think he comes out and says it again after saying it last week when they had lost 4 in a row before last night. Quickly, Chris in Worcester. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, because I feel it's totally wacky that Cora signed that contract. 3 years is too short of a time. And you mentioned it earlier, something about with the newbies coming up, Mazz. Could you mention that again? Like, why this time frame of only 3 years? I thought he deserved 5.
3 years is standard for a manager.
Yeah. So, but again, Council got 5.
That's not standard, though. Like, even Tito was getting 3-year deals with the Red Sox after what he did in 04 and 07. Like, it's just 3 years. It's kind of same thing in our industry. You know, like a lot of people over here are operating in 3-year deals. And in the media world, it's just, that's just, it is what it is.
Okay. Then I would argue, Jared, if it was 3 years, he should have gotten more than Council.
Maybe he didn't want more than 3 years.
No. He should have gotten more money than Council.
Sure. But to the caller's question, maybe Cora didn't want more than 3 years. You know, like I think he has talked about not wanting to
manage
beyond a certain age. His daughter's finishing up college, I think, this year. So it's like, you know, eventually they're all going to want to like relocate and do what they want to do. Yeah, I mean, that could be an Alex Cora call. We don't know that.
So that I'll allow for. But I will also say that if that's the case, usually the way the negotiation is, Cora says, Craig Counsell just got this big deal. I think I'm better than Craig Counsell. I've won a World Series. My career winning percentage is better than Craig Counsell's. You know, only a couple of years difference in terms of managerial experience. Cora's done it for 6. Counsell's done it for 8, maybe 9. But whatever, you get the idea. Cora says, okay, fine, you're only going to go 3 years. I get it. But instead of 8, you give me 8.5. You give me a little more than Counsell makes on an annual basis. That's typically how they go. I get 3 years and 20, even if it's just $25 million. 3 years, 25, 8.3. He gets more than Counsell. I'm the highest paid manager in the game. His Counsell's contract is worth more, but you see, there's a middle ground in there. Cora took less on both.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what's in that contract. I want to know if Cora gets protection with regard to what the team spends if they don't meet certain expectations. That's just in my head.
We may never know. Because I
agree.
The player contracts, you're going to see all the details in that. But manager contracts, it's some people don't even know what their terms are.
So I'll tell you what, in the short term, I would like to hear the comments. I want to know what Cora says about why he's agreeing. I want to hear that stuff too.
Sure.
Anyway, Kevin and Jory will get you caught up on headlines. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we got to share this part of the story with you.
Oh boy.
This exchange that happened between Cal Quantrill and Maguire. Jared, you were watching the game actually here when all this went down.
I got here like 6 hours ago, Tony.
Okay, that I know. So I was, Felger and Mazz was on this afternoon. It was hard to get every detail. I want to know what precipitated the confrontation between Cal Quantrill and Maguire, and then what came out of Cal Quantrill's mouth was not only filthy, it cut to the bone.
He cooked them,
so to speak. Here's Majori with the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Big Red Sox.
Why did that change?
I mean, sometimes I can put an act for you guys, right? And kind of like, and sometimes I was actually telling the truth. We've been talking for a few weeks here. The relationship between me and Craig has grown the last 6-7 months. Obviously, the relationship I have with ownership and Sam is very important. And at the end of the day, like I said, there's probably a lot of places that are going to open up at the end of the season. Some of them are maybe very inconvenient for the family. I really, I promise you, this decision was more based on the comfort of my family than actually, my professional career.
All right, that's Alex Cora.
That makes me feel worse.
Well, so you know what, Jared? I was just going to say that's Alex. And again, apparently Jimmy Stewart said he spoke with the media for about 10 minutes, answered questions, says it is logic or his explanation for re-upping with the Red Sox when every indication was that he was out of here. He likes to play this little game. Maybe I was stringing you guys along. I don't know. Maybe he was. Maybe it was all about the money. Could be.
No.
So tell me what you think, Jared. Go ahead.
I'm happy for him. B, your family should be your top priority. I think he consulted his family, his kids, and they said, "Hey, we still want to be here." And I think that he would listen to them more than he would listen to some sort of proposition from the Red Sox saying, "Hey, Alex, Alex has a great BS detector. Like, he knows." So if the Red Sox came to him and said, we're really gonna put forth this effort, and he's like, "Yeah, I heard that before. Anyways, my kids want to still be here," and I feel like he would put that above all else. So that could have been ultimately the deciding factor. I mean, to your point, they met the asking price. It's comparable to Counsell. It wasn't some bidding war that he entered with the Red Sox, but he may have had a number. They met it. This is where his family wanted to be and where they were happiest. And he said, "All right, cool." I mean, he's telling you that. He's like, this had more to do with personal than professional. It's like, all right, guys, if this is what's going to keep my family the happiest, then this is where I'll be.
So, look, I don't doubt that. Again, he's got two small boys, right?
Yep.
They're twins.
Yep.
And he's got an older daughter.
Yep.
So I don't doubt that there are some elements that played a role. I also believe that Cora has, of course, a baseball guy. He's moved around. I know his kids are 6 or 7 now, or whatever it is, 5 or 6, you said. I understand all of that. There's got to be more to the story. There's got to be more.
What do you think? What does it smell like to you?
I think that they gave him some assurances about the roster. And I don't know how they did that.
They had to have.
Okay, and I don't think Alex Cora is naive enough to just take them at their word. With the way the last couple of years are gone, and I'm sure that they probably wanted to pin that on Craig Breslow. Chaim Bloom. But I would tell you that whether it was Bloom or not, that Cora needs something better than just someone's word. They can always go back on it. There's got to be something more concrete that he was able to get in the contract that assures him that the Red Sox are going to be vying for championships in the next few years. And when I say vying for championships, please don't. What I hate is when people take what I say and turn it into something else. Vying for championships means that you are investing in the team and you are championship caliber or trying to be championship caliber. That's what it means. Okay, it doesn't mean you're going to win one. It doesn't mean you're even going to make the playoffs. But it means you're doing the things necessary to try to.
Sure. Top 5 payroll.
Right, or top 25% or whatever.
That's not good enough.
So I was looking at this today, Jared, though, and for example, the top 3 teams in the league in payroll are all over $315 million.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Red Sox are going there.
No, definitely not. No, that would be a drastic change in philosophy.
But they could creep into the top 5, and the difference between 4 through 8 is minimal. Okay, relatively.
Sure.
So if you're in the top 8, you're in the top 25%. Maybe it's top 7. I don't know. Whatever. That's a negotiation point, okay? But you figure that out. You figure that out and make people happy enough where they can pull it off. Again, I'm stunned. I thought he was gone. And I thought it had as much to do with the fact that they weren't really interested in being as competitive anymore.
He was gone, Tony.
Okay.
Like, it's not even like a debate. Like he was gone. To start this year, he was gone. Something changed.
Let's take a couple more calls. Dean in Shrewsbury. Dean, go ahead.
I'm really excited that we got Alex Cora back. No matter the reason for getting him back, he is one of the best managers at bridging old school baseball philosophy with analytics so you can get along with the players and with the nerds upstairs. And I think if he has a talented team, he presses all the right buttons to make it happen. So I'm very excited about this deal.
Yeah, Dean, look, again, people a lot of times, Jared, and you know this, they confuse the roster with the manager. Mm-hmm. So they think that if a team sucks, the manager sucks. Mm-hmm. It's about the talent. The managers who suck can't win with good talent. Okay? That's how you know you have a sucky manager. Cora has not had the talent the last couple of years. Quickly, Robert and Newton. Robert, go ahead.
Hey, two quick ones. What are the odds Veritek sticks around? How much of a loss would that be? And then second, the payroll is about $180 million right now, and I'm looking at it online. It says next year it's going to be down to like $107. What do we expect for the payroll the next 3 years?
Okay, let's start with Veritek.
I believe he has an option for next year. So if you're the Red Sox, you're definitely going to pick that up. I think he has a job here for as long as he wants one.
Yeah.
Like they're going to keep him happy. They're going to keep his family happy. If he really wants to scratch that itch of I want to manage somewhere else, I don't know when that day comes, but it doesn't feel like it's soon. Every time that his contract comes to an end and he's able, not even before it comes to an end, like just anytime that a team is like, hey, can we interview Jason Veritek? It never gets to a point where I feel like we're going to lose him organizationally. I'm not really worried about that. But in terms of like whatever the caller was looking at for payroll, it's just payroll committed. It's not like, hey, this is what the payroll is going to be next year. And depending on what you're looking at, it may not even factor in certain arbitration figures.
Yeah. And again, so like I'm trying to give you an example. Jarren Duran. Mm-hmm. Okay, Jarren Duran's salary is not defined yet for next year.
Correct.
But he's on the payroll.
Yep.
And they can estimate what it's going to be. Right.
Like those are going to be huge increases for both those guys.
Right. Also, the $180 million that the caller referenced is wrong. There's other numbers in there that you don't see. The number you got to go by is the luxury tax payroll number. Okay. And right now they're at about, I think, 215, 219, somewhere in that window. Am I right, Jared? Somewhere in that area?
Yeah.
Okay. Which means they're about $18 million under the luxury tax threshold.
Yep.
That's for a full season, which means that they can take on, let's just call it to make it easy, a $36 million player because they're only paying half the salary.
Yep.
Okay, so they still got room to add. That's not an issue. And the other thing is they can go over the freaking tax. Okay? It's not some sort of cap that they can't go over. That one drives me bananas, too. Can we squeeze in one more, Jimmy? We do that? Pat?
Yes.
I'll take this question quickly. Pat and Franklin. Pat, go.
Yes.
Jared, Tony, hey. Do you think he signed the deal because he knows they're going to get that they're going to sell?
Okay, good question, Jared.
I don't understand the correlation. You think he really doesn't like John Henry?
That he doesn't like this ownership, and the next group will spend, and he's out.
I have every reason to believe that they're not going to sell.
Yeah, me too.
They have told us time and time again. It wouldn't make sense. They would just no comment. Kind of how like they've been no commenting about the Celtics thing. Like they're very much no comment about the interest in the Celtics. They're very much forward facing. Hey, we're not like selling. Fenway Sports Group does not sell their assets. That pissed people off, and they were like, "Oh, they called the Red Sox an asset." But that's what they said.
And that's exactly what John Henry said verbatim to the Financial Times in the story that came out about a month and a half ago, or whenever it was. The confrontation that I keep talking about that we haven't gotten to yet, we'll wrap that up with the Baseball Hour when we come back, and with Jared Carrabis.
What did you make of the situation with Reese and Quantrill there and the kind of the bench there?
I think it's been going on for a while against him, right? Started with Rafi in Cleveland. No big deal, man. The kid's just a good pitcher. He did a good job. I don't know what was said, but at the end, the coaches did their job, separate each other, and let's finish that game. That's what we needed to do.
I don't know what was said, Alex Cora claims. Let me help him. I can tell him what was said. Cal Quantrill's on the mound. Reese McGuire's in the batter's box. What happened, Jared? There was a ground out to first base or something, but all of a sudden, McGuire's running up the first baseline and Cal Quantrill's yelling at him.
Correct.
What precipitated that before I get to what was actually said?
Nothing. Do you remember back, I don't know, 2017, 2018, around there, where CC Sabathia used to scream at Jackie Bradley Jr. all the time?
No, I don't.
So CC Sabathia did an interview after he retired.
Okay.
And he said, in order for me to keep my competitive edge, on every team, I would just pick one guy and be like, I hate this guy. So when he would battle him, he would scream at them. If they would hit a ground ball back to him, he would scream at them going up the line. If he struck him out, he would scream coming off the mound. And Jackie used to be so confused. He'd be like, why does this guy hit? Like, nothing happened. That feels to me what Cal Quantrill just did to Reese McGuire today. Obviously, we can't say exactly what he said.
Okay, so stop there for 1 second.
We're going to pause.
Jimmy Stewart, our producer, what is your nickname for Reese McGuire?
Carjacker?
So
works on a couple different levels there.
Okay, it does. It's brilliant, Jimmy. It's absolutely brilliant. So for the people who don't know, Reese McGuire, when he was with the Blue Jays, was at spring training. He was parked in the parking lot outside of
Dollar Tree.
I was going to say it was like a CVS or something. It was like a Dollar Tree.
Yep.
And was arrested for indecent exposure because, for lack of a better description, he was putting pine tar on his bat. Okay. I think I can use that euphemism, Jimmy. That's all right. So he was.
Yeah, I mean, some would say he was roughing up the prisoner.
Okay, so as a well-known story, very public. So today, it's a ground ball on the right side. As he's running up the first baseline, Cal Quantrill starts yelling at him. The two had to be separated, and cameras zoomed in on Cal Quantrill and caught him saying, it doesn't really take any expert lip reader to come to this determination. His words, his mouth, he mouthed the words, "Go bleep off in the bleeping parking lot, you dumb bleep." Which is an all-timer. I think Cora was even laughing at the end of the quote he gave to the media, but I don't know what he said, but Cora started cracking up. I want to see the actual video of it. Do I have that right, Jared? Can you read the quote?
That is correct.
I would like you to read the quote.
That's correct.
No, I want you to read it, but you'll have to bleep out the profanity, but I also want you to give us a version.
I was just looking at it here on Twitter because I tweeted out the exact video of what he said.
Which was?
And with the exact word, like, let's see how many views this video has right now. This must be a nightmare for him to go back after the game and check his phone and be like, oh, God, I forgot that this story was dead and buried. It is "Go bleep off in the bleeping parking lot, you dumb bleep." And you wouldn't believe how many people in the league currently have reached out and been like, did he really say that? I'm like, look at the video for yourself.
Oh, boy. It is crystal clear is what I would say. Again, even if you're not a lip reader or have any experience lip reading, I retweeted it, so it's on my timeline. I'm sure it's on Jared's timeline, whose timeline is way better than mine.
You kind of have to eat it if you're Reese McGuire. Like, there's no comeback for that.
Wow.
You just got to take it and keep moving.
Can you give me those notes again?
Yes.
I want to read it one more time. That sounds like something you would say to one of your buddies. Like you're getting some sort of spitting match with one of your friends. "Go bleep off in the bleeping parking lot, you dumb bleep." That is so awesome.
I don't know what he possibly could have done or said to have warranted such a chirp.
Wow.
An untimely chirp.
Holy moly.
It's like
wow.
4 years removed from
That
the
is
incident.
vicious
Yeah.
and 100% true.
It is true, yeah.
Holy smokes. Wow. Talk about a bad day. You lose 20-7. You're the catcher for your pitching staff that gets his brains beat in, and that guy brings up your sordid past. Holy crap.
Tough day.
Anyway, Jared.
Tony.
Thank you kindly.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Very much appreciate it. As always a pleasure to have you, especially on a day like today.
Big day, Tony.
And I do mean that sincerely.
And next week will also be a big day because it'll be the day after the trade deadline.
Yes, correct.
2 massive shows in a row for us.
Got a lot coming up.
Yes.
There's no question about it. Joe Murray is scheduled for the balance of the night. He's got plenty to talk about. Patriots open camp, Alex Cora, Reese McGuire, Craig Breslow, all kinds of stuff. Kevin Majori's got your headlines. We'll catch you tomorrow.